Hi, I'm Vicki Haddock, life and business coach with Transcending Limits, and I'm here today to talk to you about finding work that fits your own strengths and skills so that you can live in a space of working joyfully every day and feeling like you're adding value. And then the opposite of that is what to do when you find yourself in a space that doesn't add value to you, or maybe even feels like it sucks your soul away. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's talk first about what to do when you find yourself in that position that doesn't suit yourself anymore. Because I work with a lot of clients who are struggling. They either don't feel like their strengths are being used at their current position, or there's been some sort of shift and change in the workplace where there's no longer a match. So maybe they once really, really enjoyed what they did and it shifted and changed. Or maybe you've outgrown the workspace. That's happened to me in a couple places where I really enjoyed what I did, but as I continued to grow and strengthen my own skills, I needed to step up and challenge myself in a new way. So many different reasons why workplaces no longer fit. From the extreme, on one end, they can become, a very toxic workspace. To the extreme, I have a friend who works in the medical community, and she worked at a facility where there really were some things going on that jeopardized patient care. And so those are really red flag things, like we have to understand and figure out what to do now. And she needed to do that to protect herself. And then all the way to the more positive end of the spectrum where you've maybe just outgrown the work environment and you're ready to go on to a greater passion. So that spectrum will also dictate how quickly you move on and find something. So in the case where you have a workplace where there's maybe some unethical things going on, it might be one where you're really motivated to move on and find something else more quickly. And then if you've just outgrown that space, then that can look like a little bit different transition. So I always work with people on three main things while they're still in that current work environment. And those three things are looking to see what lessons are you learning in that environment. And especially if someone comes to me and they say, well, you know what, I've experienced a similar situation over and over again, and I've been at one job and the same thing happened, and then I go to this next job and something similar happens. That's a really big sign for me that there is a kind of a universal lesson that the universe is knocking on the door saying, hey, we really need you to learn this lesson in order to really fully embrace your skills, your gifts, and move on and be the best that you can be in the world. Okay, so that's the opportunity. And how does that look? Well, in one of the workplaces I was in, there was a coworker who really challenged my confidence in myself. And I didn't see that right away, that that's what was happening. But some of the situations that happened were really touching on making me feel like I wasn't trusting myself completely. So that situation became an opportunity for me to learn how to fully trust my own decision-making process, how to have confidence that I was making the best decisions and doing what was best for my team and my workplace. And it doesn't matter whether you are the frontline worker or whether you're the boss. These things impact you in any position. So if you've experienced a similar thing in another job, then that's really the sign. What lessons do we need to learn? Those lessons quite often are tied to maybe hurtful situations that we've experienced in the past, and they really need some tender care and healing. Or maybe it's the lesson of, don't stay put in an environment that's not good for you. It's time to move on. could be the lesson as well. So when you are really openly and honestly looking at what are my lessons, then the next thing is to start evaluating what is my strategy for moving on. Now, again, this is not a strategy. Don't encourage people to just say, oh my gosh, I don't like my job, so I'm just going to go out there and look for another job. That's probably a great way to get yourself in another unhappy situation again. So instead, I work with clients to say, what is your strength? What makes you joyful? What would an ideal job situation look like for you? And sometimes in here we have to work with some mindset issues on, do I deserve that ideal job? Is that job out there? How can I find it? Or the feeling of there's nothing out there. There's no other options for me. And a very fixed mindset, people will look at that and say, oh my gosh, there's absolutely no other jobs that I could possibly have in the history of ever out there. Well, I'm sorry, that's not true. So when you begin to open up your mindset and explore and use resources, there's always other opportunities out there. And even other opportunities that, the one thing I hear people saying is, well, there's probably no other opportunities that pay me what I'm being paid, especially if you've been in your career and worked up the some time there. But I don't think that's true. There are abundance of opportunities out there. You just have to strategically, again, know what you're looking for, know what your own strengths are, claim your own strengths, claim your own skills, and then go look for the workplace that's going to match that. And maybe it's not another workplace. Maybe, like me, you've gone on to leave the corporate world and you're ready to start your own business, or work as a consultant, or many different options. So putting that plan in place, for some, it might be a very short plan where they know exactly what they're going to do and they get that figured out and they go do it. And for others, it might be a longer process. So for myself, when I was looking at leaving the corporate world, I spent some time figuring out what it is that I was passionate about doing, training and developing leaders, being catalysts to help others move forward in their lives. Those are two things I'm very passionate about. And so then I decided, what career could I do that would allow me to do those things? And when life and business coaching came to mind, then I spent 3 years in a certification process of training and getting my education to do that before I was prepared to move on. So, some different opportunities. It's going to look different for each person, but the important thing is that you're taking an action step forward. You're identifying where you want to go. You're looking at, what are my resources? What are the people who've done this before? Who can help me understand this? Who can help me search for this type of a position? Who in my network might know someone who has this type of position available? And you're using all your resources and getting out there and making things happen. And then the third thing is, while you're still in that environment, be the light there to the best of your ability. And don't become an us versus them person. Don't become where I'm gathering my group of people over here that is against whatever we perceive to be the enemy in the work environment. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a culture, whatever it is. That situation is not helpful. It's not helpful for you, and it's not helpful for the people around you. Because here's what I know. If you're struggling in the environment, there might be other people that are struggling also, and they might be counting on your insight, your kindness, your assistance to make a difference for them. Okay? So while you're still in that environment, we're not making enemies. We're looking at, how can I stay here, do the job to the best of my ability to my last day here, and then move on in a graceful way that honors who you are as a person. Okay. So that's kind of the cycle, the 3 steps that I look at when I'm helping someone shift a career. And then let's talk just a little bit more about designing this position that would be ideal for you. And I think that takes some taking off the blinders. I think a lot of times we've just not allowed ourselves to look at what would that ideal position be. And so I'm going to give you permission to ask yourself those questions. What would ideally suit your strengths? Is it a small family-owned company where everybody knows everybody and it's a close-knit group? Is it a large corporation where you can possibly be an influencer of many more people? Is it owning your own business? Okay, so if it's out there and it's been done before, it's possible for you. If it's in the world, it's possible for you. It just takes some time and strategizing. So one of the things you could do is an energy audit. An energy audit is really cool because it just looks at, where's my energy going during the day? When does it go up and when does it go down? And when you start paying attention to your energy, you know that the things that really give you energy are the things that you want to be working in more of the time. So that's a pretty cool opportunity to explore if you're really looking to see how you can design the ideal space, workplace for you going on. Some other questions to ask in our world is, do I want to have a job that has a physical location? Do I want to be location independent with my job? Because with the internet, there are so many opportunities available to people where they can explore all sorts of different types of careers. Okay, so I hope this conversation has been helpful for you today in looking at how to gracefully exit a job situation that's not working in your best interest, and then how to look at designing something that really is a good fit for you. Leave me a comment below to let me know what you learned from this, and if you're going to take action on something in your life. Would love to hear what you're taking action on. Okay, talk to you soon.